Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me today to hear more about the Mark Cuban Foundation. We are very excited to bring the MCF here to Richmond, Virginia. My name is Phil Demetrio. I am a board member of AI-Ready RVA, and I, along with our very excited team, have worked tirelessly to bring the Mark Cuban Foundation here in Richmond. The goal of this presentation is to tell you more about the program itself, to tell you more about the opportunities where you may want to volunteer, tell you more about other programs we're working on, and finally answer any of your questions. So without further ado, I'd like to first thank our sponsors. To bring the Mark Cuban Foundation to Richmond, not only did we have to do a lot of outreach and communication with the organization, but we needed sponsors to help cover some of the key expenses related to bringing them here. And Dominion Energy stood up for us, and we really want to thank Dominion Energy for being there, for entrusting us, and for also looking ahead and acknowledging the power of this workshop, acknowledging the impact it will have on students, and acknowledging also the impact of artificial intelligence on our region. This is not a program that is just going to happen once. We hope that it happens annually, and we hope that it grows from here. So we really want to thank Dominion Energy for their sponsorship. We also really want to thank CoStar. CoStar agreed to hosting us in their wonderful building down at the river. So we really appreciate CoStar for stepping up and inviting us in their building and allowing us to use their wonderful location to inspire our students in such a beautiful environment. And finally, I want to thank AI-Ready RVA, all the board of AI-Ready RVA. I want to thank the education team, especially, and I want to thank everyone who was involved in supporting us to bring the Mark Cuban Foundation to Richmond, and for their vision in bringing them here. So with that, what is the Mark Cuban Foundation AI Bootcamp? What will students be doing? What does it all look like? Well, first of all, the Mark Cuban Foundation is completely free to high school students. Students, upon registering, can be admitted and is completely free program. There is no cost whatsoever to students. The students will also have a free lunch. And the program is 3 Saturdays long. And it all focuses on artificial intelligence. And we'll talk a little bit about different branches of artificial intelligence that it touches on. But it introduces students to artificial intelligence. It navigates them down paths that they might be interested in relation to artificial intelligence. And it creates a sense of community. There's an entire alumni network that we'll talk about in a little bit as well. There are 30 host locations across the country. I believe Richmond is the only location in Virginia, so we're very excited about that. It spans across 19 states with a total of about 920 students across the country participating. So this is quite a national movement that we're very excited to be part of, and we are very happy to see that Virginia is now put on the map. The dates of the Mark Cuban Foundation will be Saturday, November 1st, Saturday, November 8th, and Saturday, November 15th. It is the first 3 Saturdays of November. Now, students will also participate in a 5-hour asynchronous work through the platform that the Mark Cuban Foundation offers, meaning it's a total of about 20 hours of student engagement, as well as a total of about 15 hours for all the volunteers and mentors who would like to join in person this November. The camps will take place in a staggered time zones due to kind of the national program. So we will be, of course, joining at 9 a.m. EST. And the program directors will be managing the program from across the country, meaning they'll be Zooming in. They have some pre-recorded lectures. And there will even be a small presentation by Mark Cuban himself to kick off the event. So a lot of the students will be engaging with each other from across the East Coast and possibly even across the country. Now, here's where it gets exciting. The workshop does not just introduce students to artificial intelligence and what it is, but it really dives into a lot of pretty unique topics. So, for example, large language models and prompt engineering, AI tutors and agents, data and machine learning, computer vision and pose analysis, ethics, transparency, and fairness in the world of AI, audio, video, and image generation, career explorations, prototyping in the world of AI, and finally a capstone project called Launchpad, where the students can actually take their ideas and their knowledge and possibly even run with it as a startup. So the bootcamp itself is very rich. The curriculum is established by the Mark Cuban Foundation that they've been doing for a number of years now. So we're very excited to introduce our local Richmond students to this curriculum, as it really gives them a broad breadth of knowledge across all the different AI topics. Students get to decide which pathway that they want to take. So after learning about some of the basics of artificial intelligence, they can then apply their skills and knowledge across these different pathways that have unique structured curriculums for them. So students can choose AI in entrepreneurship, AI in sports and fitness, AI in arts and entertainment, AI in computer science, AI in healthcare, and AI in ecology and food security. So students have a specific track to explore AI in their areas of interest, and it leads to a development of a launchpad project that spans across all of these different topics. So with our students, we expect many of them to be interested in many of these different areas. So we're expecting many different types of launchpad projects at the end of our program. Now, it's very, very important for me to note that the application ends at the end of this month. On September 30th, it will be the last day for students to register on September 30th. So please, 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 if you have a high schooler in mind, if you are connected with a high school, if you have any friends or family that might be interested, please let them go to markcubanai.org/apply for them to submit their application. We really want as many people as possible to apply. We really want to see as much engagement as possible, because that allows us to then make the argument to the Mark Cuban Foundation to let us expand this program to many more students in the years ahead. So please, if you were considering this program, if you have somebody in mind that you think would be interested, now is your time to pull out your phone or send that email, because registrations close on September 30th. So please, please, please get involved now before it's too late. The program is eligible to all high school students, grades 9th to 12th, within a 30-mile radius of the greater Richmond area. So anybody around town can apply. Now, let's take a look inside the boot camp. We are going to have both mentors and volunteers. Now, for volunteers, these are people that are helped just generally with the operations of the boot camp, making sure the lunch is served, that the questions are being answered, that everyone is in their place. And a lot of that support is going to be coming from AI Ready RVA. But we are looking for mentors, and mentors are individuals that work directly with the students. These are people that can get to inspire the students, that can answer some of their questions that they may have about the applications of what they're learning in the real world. These are people that can ask the students questions to unlock additional context to their learning. These are people that we're hoping can help inspire our students. So if you're somebody who likes working with students, who is in the field of technology or engineering or computer science, we highly recommend that you apply as a mentor, and we'll have the link for you to apply in just a little bit here. So we are absolutely looking for mentors. We are planning on having at least 10 mentors per day. You do not have to volunteer all 3 days, but we highly recommend that you do. So if you're just interested in volunteering for one of the 3 Saturdays, that is totally fine. So please consider signing up as a mentor. Take to at least come and see also the innovative work that all these students will be doing. Additionally, we'll have local teachers supporting our boot camps. So at least one teacher that I know attended the Mark Cuban Foundation's Teacher Fellowship Program, which actually teaches teachers how to use various AI tools to enrich their programs, something that we also did here locally. And so we know that some of those teachers across the country will be participating as mentors for those students to help them kind of go through the curriculum and help keep everyone energized and enrich the programs themselves. So this is an example of the different types of programs that will be happening within the bootcamp. So for example, there will be slideshow presentations that will be either pre-recorded or live. There'll be different forms of synchronous or asynchronous messaging, whether through text or through the platform. There'll be pre-recorded videos led by the Mark Cuban's Foundation Chief Learning Officer. There'll be activity time where they will have a set activity that students and groups need to complete. We'll have Zoom support sessions where people from across the East Coast will be able to join a Zoom and ask various questions and get to meet each other. And finally, there'll be different lesson guides that will guide them through a particular project. So again, there'll be a variety of different learning approaches for students. This is something that the Mark Cuban Foundation has organized for many years now. So we're very excited to see the type of content that they're planning on presenting to the students and how it's all being organized. We really believe that what they have is super rich, and we're very excited for our students to be participating in their program. So this is an example of the schedule for one of the days. And again, it's a sample schedule here, so it's not exactly the case, but it does highlight, for example, the richness of the programs themselves and the topics that they'll be mentioning. So, for example, after coming in for arrival, they might have an AI playground where they have different kind of games and tools that they can get to explore. They might have a lesson on comparing different large language models and how prompt engineering works for them. There might be scheduled guest speakers that come online or in person. We'll have lunch in the middle of the day. Then they might have lessons on image classification with machine learning. They might have lessons on prediction models. They might have lessons on data optimization and going deeper into the data. And depending, of course, on which pathway they choose, these sample courses might be different for each student. But ultimately, the courses are organized into 30-minute chunks for the students to engage with them, either as an activity or as a lesson. And these lessons will be very different across the different students based on what their interests are. So the students that are doing AI and entrepreneurship might have a different schedule than those doing the AI in computer science, for example. But all of which are going to be in the classroom, engaging with the same platforms, but might be going through different bite-sized lessons in order to enrich in the areas that they're most interested in. So this is an example of the curricular guides and what that looks like for at least the computer science pathway. So again, it goes to show how the Mark Cuban Foundation has put in a lot of work to organize a rich curriculum for students that are interested in all the different pathways that they have outlined. So this is just an example of some of the coursework that students can expect to have if they chose the computer science pathway. So a few updates here. The teacher fellows will be invited to support the mentors on site. So again, we have at least one teacher that I'm very familiar with who will be coming to support our teachers. And so these are teachers that have participated in the Mark Cuban Foundation's Teacher Fellowship. There have been adjustments to the project design and the curriculum based on 2024 feedback. And of course, there'll be more feedback to come in 2025. So every year, the curriculum does get changed a little bit. For example, this year, the Mark Cuban Foundation added an ecology and food security pathway. So if students are interested in sustainable ecology, food security, food deserts, things like that, students can definitely participate in that track. And finally, this year, they're really focusing on this capstone project of a launchpad project. So this allows the students to kind of think about their work as something that they can then take out of the Mark Cuban Foundation Bootcamp, maybe starting their own startup, starting their own school club, an organization outside of this. So that way they're leaving with something that they know they can either grow or continue thereafter. This here is a great Another great feature to the Mark Cuban Foundation program, they have something called kind of a playing card deck, which has different questions. We've heard from their presentation to us that this is a great way to engage with the different mentors that are volunteering. So during their downtime, the students and the mentors can shuffle this deck of cards and ask questions to each other. So for example, how is creating a song with AI similar or different from remixing or sampling and other modern ways of creating that rely on other people's work? So again, it starts a conversation then about things like, well, how unique is AI relative to maybe other forms of copyright infringements, right? So it starts that conversation. So it's basically a deck of cards that should spark conversations about these AI topics. It could also be very just personal and fun. What are your top 3 favorite songs right now? It gets the mentors and the students all engaged in conversation. So this is another really cool feature that the Mark Cuban Foundation has in their curriculum, where we'll be shipped a deck of cards for everyone to participate in conversations during their downtime. Goose Chase is a platform that the Mark Cuban Foundation likes to use. It allows homework essentially to be gamified. Now, it's something to note here that the Mark Cuban Foundation will not have any sort of graded homework for the students, right? They won't be placed. They won't have a report card at the end of the boot camp or anything like that. But they will have the Goose Chase as a platform, which is a gamified way to have students select the types of and questions that they want to answer. So some questions might be harder than others, and they will get more points for those, or they might choose to maybe answer fewer questions, but that are harder, or maybe more questions that are easier. So it's another example of how the Mark Cuban Foundation is using some really cool education technology platforms to gamify engagement for students. So really top class quality of education here that we're very excited to share with our local Richmond students. And this is an example of what kind of the Goose Chase application looks like. If you are interested in becoming a volunteer, there's a couple things. First, you will need to register as a volunteer. So we'll have the link for that coming up soon. Additionally, volunteers will have to go through a background check. And finally, there will be a volunteer training session online to complete a self-paced LMS training system in October. The Mark Cuban Foundation will host an optional live office hours for any of the volunteers that are interested in asking any sort of questions on the Friday before each of the bootcamp days. So on the day before each of the bootcamp, the Mark Cuban Foundation will send out an email to all those volunteers that have registered, letting them know that there'll be a live training session in case they want to ask any follow-up questions. So plenty of support for all of our mentors and volunteers that want to get involved. This slide here basically shows the different types of communications that will be used to help navigate the volunteers. And so Mighty Networks will have a logistics hub, a tech support hub, as well as a bootcamp site. So this is all a platform where you can kind of get more information on. You'll receive a know before you go email with all the information you need before you actually attend the bootcamp itself. And finally, you'll have calendar invites to make sure you know where to go, when to go, and what time to go. Want to finish this off here with our volunteer application form. So if you are interested in becoming a volunteer, please go to the markcubanai.org/volunteer/registration, or pick up your phone and scan the QR code here. Consider registering as a mentor if you are interested in working with the students, if you have a background in engineering that you would like to share and inspire others. If you generally just want to come and see what it's all about, still feel free to register as a volunteer. We'd love to have you and give you a tour of the operations and of the boot camp. So please, if you're interested in volunteering, go ahead and scan this QR code and meet us there this November. Additionally, AI Ready RVA, the organization that I am part of, the organization that has worked very hard to bring the Mark Cuban Foundation to Richmond and to organize other events such as our own local teacher workshop, AI summer camps, and more. We have been working so hard to help this community. So if you are able to donate, we really would appreciate a donation. So if you can, please scan this QR code and donate. $100 can essentially pay for one student to enter the Mark Cuban Foundation. This covers all of the logistical support. It covers all of the lunches. It covers all of the work required to support this program. So again, $100 supports one student. We would love for you to be able to donate to help us continue growing our programs. We do this for the community, so we hope we can continue to expand these for all of you. And with that, I just wanted to say thank you for all of us that joined. Thank you for listening to this presentation, to learning more about the Mark Cuban Foundation. Thank you for supporting AI Ready RVA and all the work that we do. We're so excited to bring roughly 30 students to the Mark Cuban Foundation this November and to grow these programs so they become an annual competition almost. We want more students to register. We want to see many more volunteers register, and we want to see your engagement. So please share this, like this, and forward this on to anyone who might be interested. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us, and we hope to see you again this November for the Mark Cuban Foundation Bootcamp.